Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Welcome.
नहीं.
Good afternoon, everyone.
ज्वाइन करते
उस बार हम लोग का जमानत कराए थे यार चीज
We are waiting for all the members to join.
रिकॉर्डिंग इन प्रोग्रेस वीडियो ऑडियो ऑन कर दीजिए
Okay, so hopefully all the members are with me. So today we are conducting yet another session for the training, and today's training is based on intelligence. The topic.
रिकॉर्डिंग इन प्रोग्रेस दिखा रहा है.
I am Ravi Pandey, as you are aware. I am your host today, and I will be conducting this meeting for today. So let us first understand what
कॉलेज में उनको
intelligence is.
बोलने का जब फोन नहीं उठा रहा है तो आप बोल के
We need to understand first of all what multiple intelligence is and what is the importance of multiple intelligence in our particular culture of work, our particular way of working. So till now it has been believed that intelligence is something which is basically available with each and every person. So intelligence is within each and every person, and this is something basic which is inside a person. But later on, it has been found out by different psychologists that intelligence may vary from person to person, intelligence may vary from student to student, and there was a theory given on the basis of which intelligence was divided into multiple types. And these types would be discussed in today's meeting, and we will also discuss how this particular type of understanding of multiple intelligence is going to be helpful for us and beneficial for us in our daily life also, and also in the life in the role of a teacher, how multiple intelligence is going to work for us. So I'm going to share my presentation with you, and on the basis of that presentation we will go ahead and discuss all these things, all the topics related to multiple intelligence. Let me share my screen with you, in which I have the presentation ready for all of you. So I believe my screen is visible to all the members.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm still admitting a few of the members. Okay.
Yes, sir. It is visible.
This is how the presentation looks like for today's training. So we have already discussed about multiple intelligence. Now let us see who gave this theory of multiple intelligence. So the theory of multiple intelligence was exactly given by Howard Gardner, and I am showing you in the next slide. We have a small exercise for us, and on the basis of that exercise, we are going to discuss what multiple intelligence is. Now, this is an exercise called as an Oreo exercise. Now,
Excuse me, sir.
Sir,
Screen
Sir,
is not visible.
screen is not visible, sir.
So is the screen is not visible to everyone?
No, sir, it is not visible.
Okay. Is it visible now, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Now
Yes,
it's
sir.
visible.
Yes, sir.
Let me
Yes, sir.
check something else. So it seems that when we are going ahead and making the complete PowerPoint presentation, this screen goes off. So let me walk you through this particular presentation one by one. Okay. So here we are going to discuss multiple intelligence, and this is what the slide looks like. This is how the presentation look like. And we have already discussed that this particular theory of multiple intelligence was given by Mr. Howard Carter. Please do not annotate. Okay. Let me get back to the mouse. Okay, thank you. So this theory was given by Howard Gardner, and the theory of multiple intelligence was given by Gardner. And let us see this particular slide in which we see a child eating the Oreo biscuits or Oreo cookies. And we can see that how the child is eating this particular, she has opened her entire mouth and eating this particular cookie. Now here, what do Oreo have to do with this multiple intelligence or theory of multiple intelligence? So in the very next slide, we are going to understand what this Oreo exercise has to do with multiple intelligence. Now, let us see. Now, here we can say that this particular child is eating Oreo like this. Some of us might go ahead and dip it in milk or coffee and eat it. Some of us might go ahead and eat it like this, take a bite from it. Some of us might go ahead and use a chopstick and eat it. Some of us might go ahead and break it in between and lick the cream within the Oreo. So the point is, it is the same Oreo biscuit, but when it is given to different people, they consume it in different ways. They have different tendencies, they have different likings for the same Oreo biscuit, and they consume it in different ways. So here, the basic concept is clear that although it is the same stuff which has been given to different people, but they are using it according to their intelligence, they are using it according to their understanding, they are using according to their taste itself. So it clearly gives us an idea that although intelligence is a basic part of our life, or intelligence is a basic necessity of our brain, but still it may differ from person to person, it may vary from person to person. So now, as multiple intelligence may vary from person to person, so who gave this theory? Howard Gardner gave this theory, and how this theory has been utilized, that is what we're going to understand in this particular session. So Howard Gardner, let us understand a little bit about Howard Gardner. He began studying psychology at Harvard under the influence of Mr. Erickson, and Mr. Erickson was none other than a developmental psychologist. Developmental psychologist is a person who reads the mind and the ecological evolution within the mind of a person. And later on, Howard became a tutor as well. Eventually focused on cognitive developmental psychology. So Mr. Erickson was a developmental psychologist, and later on, as Howard Gardner worked under him, so he also became a developmental psychologist. And And rather than calling him as a psychologist, he told himself to be a social scientist, and he gave this theory of multiple intelligence, which is widely accepted along all the educational and social institutions and the policies in the clinical psychology, or any type of policies when policies are made for students or schools. This particular concept of multiple intelligence is taken into consideration. And why is it taken into consideration? That we have already understood, we have already saw in this previous slide, that different people may have different type of intelligences, and what are these different type of intelligences was given by Howard Gardner, and we are going to study and we are going to read about these particular type of intelligences. Now, the first one we are going to study is about linguistic intelligence. So as we know the word linguistic, it is related to language, and the entire concept of linguistic intelligence is based on language itself. So we might find a lot of person, we might find our own students who are very much, we have a tendency to learn more and more languages. Like we can see that a lot of students who write very well, who speak very well, or who go ahead and try to learn different types of languages. So this is where the linguistic intelligence comes into play. So what is it? Is the ability to learn and use language to accomplish certain goals. When we learn language to get something, to know something, then this particular intelligence or type of intelligence comes into play. This intelligence includes an individual's ability to use language either rhetorically or politically to his or her advantage, and as a way to remember information. So the people who have this type of intelligence, they tend to speak poetry. They are very good and in expressing themselves. They go ahead, like normally when we write in our school group, there are a lot of teachers who go ahead and use poetical words. There are a lot of teachers and members who use a lot of information which is related to poetry and language. So this is where the linguistic intelligence comes into play. In which type of person we find this linguistic intelligence? So in most of the writers, good speakers, poets and lawyers, they have a high level of linguistic intelligence. So my question is that if we are understanding linguistic intelligence, how is it going to help us? Being a teacher, how is it going to help us? I would request any of the members to present their views on this particular topic, that how, if we are understanding linguistic intelligence today, is going to help us in our day-to-day scenario, in our industry, in educational institutions. Anyone, any member? Any member is most welcome to present their views. How is linguistic intelligence going to help us?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It helps to explain the topic in a more clear way and in a more elaborate way, sir.
Very good, sir. Very nicely explained. Any other member? So normally in our day-to-day teaching, we find a lot of students who are not very good at writing these things, writing a lot of things. But when we ask them to speak up, ask them to talk, they talk too much and they are extrovert in nature. So rather than going ahead and writing their task, they go ahead and they have a tendency to go ahead and express it using their own words. So this is where, if we can identify the student rather who do not like writing much, but who like to go ahead and express themselves in the ways of speakers, then this particular goal of understanding this particular topic, that is linguistic intelligence, is fulfilled. So this is where linguistic intelligence learning for us comes into play. Now let us move to the another type of intelligence. Another type of intelligence is logical intelligence or mathematical intelligence. So we also see that in our group also, in our group of members also, we have a lot of members who are very quick at analyzing a lot of things. Like they are very comfortable with numbers and figures. But a lot of us are there who are not very much comfortable with numbers and figures. So the members or the students or the people who have a logical thinking and they are very good at numbers and figures, then there we can say that their logical or mathematical intelligence is far more ahead than the rest of the people in the group. So now let us try to understand what is mathematical or logical intelligence. If a person has the ability to analyze problems logically, if the person can think the merits and demerits, if he has the statistical data of the problem, what is the incoming in a certain scenario, what is the outgoing, what is the income, what is the expenditure, and if the person can carry out mathematical operations and investigate issues scientifically. Investigate issues scientifically here means that he can represent a trend. He can the person can tell why this is happening and what is the logic behind this. Then this person tend to have a logical or mathematical intelligence. According to Gardner, this means the ability to see patterns. Now, let us take a simple example. In our scenario, what happens? Let us suppose that we have a record of the student from class 7th, 8th, and 9th. So from the last 3 years, what his performance has been in different subjects, we can go ahead and see the trend, whether the person is improving or the condition of the student in one particular subject is degrading. So here, if we are able to see the pattern, we are the teachers or the members who are very well aware and able to see the pattern in the growth of a student, then we can say that this particular member has a logical or mathematical intelligence. Use logic and deductive reasoning to process and understand concepts. So the person can also use different logics to make the other person understand what is the logic behind this problem, what is the logic behind this solution. And more logically, we can see the members who are teaching mathematics in our school, or we can see this type of tendency in scientists, the research scholars. So scientists and mathematicians have high logical and mathematical intelligence. They are very much comfortable with numbers and figures. They can go ahead and see the trends. Not only these scientists and mathematicians, if we go in the corporate houses, we can also see that a lot of people who are related to managerial or senior managerial role, they only tend to sit on their system and they keep on analyzing the situation on the basis of numbers and figures. So they follow a pattern, they see a trend that how the process is going, whether it is going downwards or it is shooting upwards. So the people who have good logical reasoning, who are good with numbers and figures, they tend to have mathematical intelligence. Now, let us come to the next type of intelligence, and this type of intelligence is musical intelligence. Now, this is a very different type of intelligence. There are a lot of people who, when sit somewhere in a music concert, they just sit and listen to the music. But in the same group or in the same crowd, we can see a lot of people who start tapping their hands or clapping, or we can see a lot of people who have their toes tapping here and there, because what they have a tendency to enjoy the music, and not only enjoy the music, they can go ahead and perform the music also, and they can appreciate and understand the music patterns over there. Like when we have a particular program in our school, a lot of members who go ahead and participate in this program because they have that musical intelligence. They have a tendency to understand that music, they enjoy that music, and this is what we call as musical intelligence. So the ability to recognize or understand musical pitches, tones and rhythms, this is a part of musical intelligence. And where this musical intelligence is found, this musical intelligence is found in musicians, choral directors, the people who direct the chorus, a group song. Conductors must have a high musical, so most of the musicians, even the singers, they also have a very high musical intelligence. The next type of intelligence that we have is bodily, or we called it kinesthetic intelligence. Now, in our school group also, in our classrooms also, we find a lot of students who, when stand up and start saying something, they have a very vibrant body and they move their hands and toes and legs, etc. And using their hand and figure movement, they try to express themselves. So this is where bodily or kinesthetic intelligence comes into play. These people or the students who have a bodily or kinesthetic intelligence, they have a very high command of body.
40 आदमी अभी मिट
They have a very high
48 आदमी स्कूल के डाटा पे है.
sir. So they have a very high command of bodily motions and fine motor skills. And we also find that these students mostly participate in sports contests like the yearly sports that we have. The student, we can see those students, that those students are not participating in musical concerts. Those students are not participating rather in cultural programs. But when it comes, when the time comes for the annual sports or inter-school sports, these students come forward and go ahead and they present themselves in different type of games. So the student who go ahead and participate in these events of sports events, they tend to have a bodily or kinesthetic intelligence. The ability to manipulate tools along with the body to solve the problem. So these people, these students have a tendency to go ahead and use different tools apart from their body. The ability to watch a demonstration performance and replicate it easily. So if this particular type of intelligence is also found in dancers. The student who are very much into dance, they can go ahead and watch a particular step and they can also go ahead and repeat this particular step in the same ways. A lot of members in our group also have a very good bodily or kinesthetic intelligence because they are very much into cultural programs, dance programs, and they can go ahead and repeat those steps again. These people have a usually high sense of direction and timing. So the people who have a bodily or kinesthetic intelligence, they can go ahead and understand the direction. They can go ahead and organize different type of dramas or stage programs. And generally this is found where? This is found in the people who are related to dance, the surgeons or the doctors who do the surgery, the athletes, and obviously the athletes have usually a very high sense of this particular intelligence, bodily or kinesthetic intelligence. Now, let us deal with the next type of intelligence, that is visual or spatial intelligence. Now, visual itself tells us what it means. It means that anything which appeals to us when we look at it. So generally we find this intelligence in the beginning very much into a lot of primary students who can very well understand a lot of things just by looking at those things. Or there are a lot of members, people and student in our class. Like I have seen in some of the classes of biology that we use different type of vibrant colors like pink, yellow, white to show different figures. So students can go ahead and demarcate between the different boundary lines of different figures and very well understand that. So this is where visual or spatial intelligence comes into play. So the people who have visual or spatial intelligence, they have a sensitivity to correlate with line, color, shape, space, and form. And this is where in our educational institution, the role of teaching tools come into play, where we go ahead and have different kind of color cards, we have different kind of figures that we show to our students, and students are very easily, a lot of students are very easily able to go ahead and grasp and understand that particular figure or problem. These type of people have the ability to use mind's eye to picture, rotate, and manipulate objects as well. So these people, we can say that a very high type of understanding of pictures and figures as well. They can sit and go ahead and close their eyes and recall what they have learned today, how the things were looking on. So we can also say that they have a good imagination power. These people have the ability to manipulate and understand of the contents of display. So if something is shown to these people, they very easily understand it rather than understanding the numbers and figures. So this is where the concept of doing and showing comes into play for these people. We can go ahead and show different type of figures, photographs, movies, pictures, etc., and they go ahead and understand it, and they can very well easily go ahead and recall it. And if we talk about the career perspective, the graphic architects, artists, map makers are some of the people who have a very sharp visual or spatial intelligence. They can recall it again and again. They can understand the graphs, they can understand the colors, and they can go ahead and redraw those pictures into another paper or another time. So generally, graphic artists, architects, map makers are some of the people who have a very sharp spatial or visual intelligence. Now, the next one is interpersonal intelligence. Now, this particular intelligence have a very important role in our lives, in the life of each and every person. So interpersonal means the ability to correlate ourselves with the other people, the ability to find a relation, the ability to go ahead and have a bond with other people is called as interpersonal intelligence. And generally, if we see in our class, we can go ahead and see this particular type of intelligence in the students who have a leadership skills. They can go ahead and solve the dispute between two students. They can go ahead and be the leader of a team. So this intelligence includes an individual's desire to understand other people. So the person who have interpersonal intelligence, they sit, observe the people, and try to understand what is going on in the mind of that particular person. We being a teacher but we must have a very good interpersonal intelligence. Why? Because just by looking at the students, we have to understand, just by observing the student, we have to understand what is going on what is going on in their minds, what they are thinking. This includes the ability to work well and cooperatively with others. So these people are very good leaders. They can go ahead and lead a team. They can understand what is going on. They can understand the sentiments of a group, and they can go ahead and make the environment any conflict-free and resolve any type of conflict. So mostly we can see that the people who tend to become the leaders, the salespersons, they have this particular type of skills. Even the educators like us also have the same type of a skill, because on a day-on-day basis in the class, we go ahead and understand the other student, we resolve the conflict between them, we go ahead and bring out the leaders from our students. So educators must have, or they do have, this type of interpersonal intelligence. being in tune with the needs of others and using that information to respond to those needs by modifying behavior. So we also go ahead, being an educator or religious and political leaders, they also understand that what is the sentiment of the group, what is the sentiment of the religious community, what is needed by them, how they are going to provide it. So if we talk in our scenario, we can see that we just by looking at the student, we can understand that where he is lacking, and we provide them an extra support that meet me after the class and let us discuss this particular question. You can talk to this particular teacher, let me go ahead and talk to your science teacher and resolve this conflict or resolve the problem that we have. So this is where the concept of interpersonal intelligence comes into play, and this is generally seen in salespersons, educators, the people like us, religious and political leaders. All these type of people have interpersonal skills, a very good skill to go ahead and make a cardinal relationship, a very good skill to go ahead and become a leader of the group or motivate others to become the leader of the group. And another part of this interpersonal intelligence is intrapersonal intelligence. So intra means within ourselves. So an educator not only have an interpersonal skill, but the educator also have an intrapersonal skill. An educator can only correlate or coordinate with others if he or she is able to understand his or her own ability in a very delightful manner and in a very clear manner. So if we are able to understand ourselves very well, what are our capabilities, what can we do, what can we learn, then we tend to have a very good interpersonal skill as well. So this intrapersonal skill people, they have deep understanding of themselves. They can understand what they possess. They can understand what qualities they have. These people understand and appreciate one's own feelings, fears, and motivations. But these people do not have a very much liking about the emotion of the other people. They are self-engulfed. They tend to understand their own feelings and fears, and they are heuristic in nature. They keep on motivating themselves time and again. Have the ability to analyze strength and weaknesses. These people can go ahead and analyze their own strength and their own weaknesses. So they are very well aware of themselves. They can very well understand what they have. So generally we find this type of quality in writers, philosophers, theorists, the people who give the theories, all have a heightened, all these people have a heightened intrapersonal skills. ये जितने भी लोग होते हैं सबके अंदर काफी high intrapersonal skills होती हैं. And now till now we have discussed, let us summarize the type of intelligences that we have read till now. So the first one was linguistic intelligence related to the language. The second one was logical or mathematical intelligence related to logic, mathematics, figures. And then we had musical intelligence, so the people who can tap their toes on music and they can understand music as well. If they get a chance, they tend to move ahead and move on the stage to give the performance. Next, bodily or kinesthetic intelligence, the dancers, surgeons, athletes who can use their body very well, who have a very fine motor skills, they can go ahead and use this intelligence. So this intelligence is found in athletes. Then we have intelligence related to vision, visual and spatial intelligence. The people, these type of people are they have a very sharp memory regarding pictures and figures and lines, colors, etc. And architects and design artists are basically even the people who go ahead and make the movie sets. The art directors, they also have a very good visual or spatial intelligence. Then we have interpersonal skills, where we discuss that the people are able to understand the feeling of others. They can bring out the leaders from others. They can solve the conflict. And then comes the intrapersonal, the people who are self-centered, who are introvert, who think about themselves, who understand the weaknesses within themselves, who understand the strength within themselves. And mostly this ability is seen in writers, philosophers, the people who are theorists or who give theories about different. So generally we find a lot of people related to philosophy, if we talk about Osho was one of the philosopher, Aristotle was one of the philosopher, Socrates was one of the philosopher. So these people have a deep thinking formula. They can go ahead and deeply think, sit. Vivekanand cannot be forgotten. He had an excellent intrapersonal skill, who can sit, meditate, and understand what is going on within his mind. So these are some of the intelligences that we have discussed till now. Now, next comes naturalistic intelligence. So, as the word itself tells us that it is related to nature. So, the people who are very close to nature, who like the sun coming up in the sky, the dawn of the sun, the dusk of the sun, the changes in the environment, the smell of the clay when the first drop of raindrops come in the summer season. There is a different type of aroma which comes out of the soil, which is liked by the people. So this is the intelligence which is related to natural factors, related to nature. When we tend to see a flower blossoming up, a bud blossoming up, we feel very great. A lot of people do not have that tendency to go ahead and look at that, but a lot of people are there who can go ahead and look at that particular rose flower, that creeper, and they can go ahead and verify the beauty that it has. So these people have heightened sensitivity to the changes in nature. Whatever occurring nearby is observed by these people who are related to natural intelligence. These people are in tune with nature and interested in exploring and learning about nature and elements associated with nature. So these people have a tendency to learn about nature, to explore nature. ये पौधा कहाँ होता है, कुर्ग में ऐसा मौसम है तो वहां जाना चाहिए. A lot of, and they have a tendency to go to different places and observe the beauty of the nature. And we can see who are the people related to it. The people like biologists who study biology, who study zoology, about the animals, who study botany, about the plants and the trees, they are related to it. The conservationists, the environmentalists who go ahead and conserve the nature, try to preserve the nature, they have a very good naturalistic intelligence. The gardeners, and our gardener, have a very good naturalistic intelligence. So these people have a very high type of naturalistic intelligence. Now the point is, why we are reading or studying or taking a training about these type of intelligences? How is it going to help us being an educator? So the house is open for next 2 minutes. I would request all the members to present their views on this particular question, this particular idea, that how studying about or knowing about these type of intelligences is going to help us being an educator. So please, members, go ahead and represent your views, and please rejoin the next link, which is going to be shared in next 1 or 1.5 minutes. Yes. Any member can go ahead and share his or her views, that how these learning about these particular type of intelligences is going to help us being as a good educator, being a good facilitator. Yes, please. So I'm waiting for anyone to go ahead and present his or her views. How learning about these intelligences is going to help us being an educator or a facilitator.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Sir, no doubt the presentation was an awesome one. And yes, being an educator, we do come into this situation. In a class of 40, there are 40 students, and each and every one, they have the different way of learning. Yes, and I'm just sharing my experiences when I used to teach in my class, in class 5 and 4. So there are some students, a group of students who is very active, very active. When I used to demonstrate a practical topic, and they used to love to attend that thing. But at the same time, when I start teaching